Hello friends, my name is Michelle Fondin and I'm the author of How to Run a Successful Yoga Business and Not Go Broke, Lessons from a Yoga Teacher, Entrepreneur, and Modern Hippie. And welcome to my video series on how to run a successful yoga business. I've been running a yoga business for 10 years and I ran a yoga studio for 7 years. Now, if you are a yoga teacher, it doesn't mean that you're not in business. If you're promoting yourself in any way as a yoga teacher, you are in business. You're running a yoga business. You don't have to be running a yoga studio. You're actually promoting yourself as a yoga teacher and gathering a following for your classes, which you need to do whether you're teaching in a yoga studio, in a gym, in a community center, at home, or running your own studio. At any rate, you still need to run your business if you're going to make any money on teaching yoga. So today we're going to talk about marketing is about building relationships. Now, I've seen the comments on Amazon, I've seen the comments on YouTube, I've had conversations with various yoga teachers, and that led me to teaching you today about marketing is about relationship building. Now, we are in the modern age. Yes, we are in the information or past the information age, as Guru Tony Robbins said, even though he said, I'm not your guru, but he's my guru. Even though the methodology of reach has changed throughout the years. So before we used to advertise in magazines and newspapers, and now we're advertising on banner ads and through social media. The essence of what marketing is all about has never changed. It has never changed throughout the ages. It doesn't matter if you were advertising in 1890, in 1990, or in 2018. The nature of marketing is all about relationship building. Now, there is no magic bullet to building relationships. Sure, you can attract clients. You can do, for example, a Groupon or Living Social deal and attract clients to your classes or studio. You can put in advertising in Facebook ads, Google ads, or Twitter ads, and you can attract people to your classes. But in the end, in order to retain those clients, you need to build a relationship. So what does that mean? What does that mean, build a relationship? It means that you have to have more love for your client than you have for your product or service. So whether you're teaching yoga or selling crystals or yoga t-shirts or yoga gear, whatever it is, you need to have more love for your client than you do for your products or services. Now that is number one. Your clients will know if you have more love for your product or service than for your clients. Now, what is the reason for that? The reason for that is that your clients will become your clients for a lifetime. Whether you're teaching yoga, doing Reiki healing sessions, teaching bar fitness like I was teaching, or teaching prenatal yoga, whatever it is, your clients will become your biggest fans, your raving fans. Now, why will they become your raving fans no matter what you do? They'll become your raving fans because you have developed a loving relationship with them. Now, what does that mean? That means that you are more interested in them as people than you are interested in your yoga practice. Oftentimes, what I've seen in yoga teachers and yoga studios and various programs that I've taken, I've seen yoga teachers that while they love the practice of yoga, they're a little bit more self-absorbed, meaning that they love their practice so much that they're more into showing off what they can do, the moves they can do, the perfect classes they can teach, or their technique, rather than connecting really on a personal level with each and every client. And that is the magic in marketing. It's not because you have the best Instagram account with all these beautiful pictures of you doing various yoga poses and very difficult yoga poses at that. It's not about your Twitter feed, and it's not about like having the most clever tweets out of anybody in your yoga community. It's not even about you having the best yoga videos on YouTube. What it's about is how you connect with people. How do you connect with people on a very personal level? And so what does it take to do that? What it takes to do that is it takes time to create relationships, doesn't it? You can't just walk into a bar and say to some person, hey, will you marry me? Right? You need to first ask them for a cup of coffee. Say, hey, I really like you. Let's go get a cup of coffee together sometime. It's about learning about that person. It's about learning, are they married? Are they divorced? Are they single? Do they have children? What kind of job do they do? What kind of family do they have? Where do they come from? What is their culture and background? What is their primary language? All of these things compile a relationship that you can have with each and every one of your clients. And again, I say that it doesn't matter if you're teaching in a yoga studio. If you're teaching in a yoga studio making $20, $30, $40 a class, you can still create these bonds with your clients. And I would urge you to do that because you don't know, A, where you're going to teach next, B, if you're going to open up a yoga studio for yourself, or C, if you're going to morph your yoga practice as teaching into some other business. What you want is you want your clients to follow you wherever you go. You want your clients to love you and love what you do so that they follow you wherever you go and whatever you do and whatever discipline you go into, you want them to be there for you. So that's really what it's about. It's not about the most clever technique, because oftentimes the questions that I get and the questions that I had when going into marketing, because honestly, I knew zero about business when I started my yoga business back in 2008. I really knew absolutely nothing. And in fact, the really embarrassing part is that I was in my yoga teacher training course and David G was giving the presentation on marketing your yoga classes. And I said, oh, wouldn't it be nice like if you could put flyers on people's cars, like at the grocery store? And a gentleman turned to me and said, marketing is about relationship building. It's not about putting flyers on people's cars. Now, this was before the internet had totally exploded, meaning that it was just starting with these Google AdWords and Groupons and Facebook ads and all that. Like, it was, my training started in 2007. And as you know, like Facebook was pretty new at that time. So it was even just starting to have this internet marketing techniques. And there wasn't a whole lot other than the traditional methods of marketing. But I was too caught up in the ways of marketing versus the relationship building. Because ways of marketing can seem faster, right? Because ways of marketing can bring people in your door. And if you're starting a yoga business, for example, like if you're teaching a bunch of classes out of your home, to just start out, like you need bodies, you need people in your classes, right? And that's the most important thing, especially if this is going to be your livelihood. And you need to, for example, get those classes at those yoga studios. And honestly, whether you work in a gym or a yoga studio, if your classes are not full, then they'll cut your class. They will change the schedule for a class that's more popular. So you still need to keep students inside your class. So it doesn't matter, but it's about relationship building. The reason why people get frustrated is because relationship building takes a lot longer. It takes a lot longer than those fast methods of getting people to your classes. So it's about building relationships and creating an excellent service or product. And then the marrying the two together and having them fall in love with you. You want them to fall in love with you too. So you fall in love with your client and your client falls in love with you. And that's what it's about. It's about this love relationship. And if your client falls in love with you, then they will love anything that you do. It doesn't matter what you do. They'll just support you. And in fact, with this book, How to Run a Successful Yoga Business, I have this client who is just amazing. I love him. And he comes to my classes and he's taken many of my courses and classes and he buys my books. And in fact, when this book came out, How to Run a Successful Yoga Business, he said, well, how much is your book? And I said, well, it's like $16. And he's like, I want to buy a copy. I'm like, you're not a yoga teacher, nor do you ever want to be a yoga teacher. Like, why do you want to buy my book? He said, I just want to support you. So that is the type of client that you want. That's the type of relationship you want with your client. You want that type of relationship where your client loves what you do so much, but loves you more and will support you in any endeavor that you have now in the present and into the future. And that's when you create raving fans. And that's what you want. You want those raving fans that will follow you wherever you go. And so fall in love with your client rather than your yoga practice, rather than your product or service. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel below for all the videos on health, well-being, and how to run a successful yoga business. Please share this video with friends, family, and your yoga dog. Thank you for pledging your support on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Michelle S. Fondin, and I will see you in the next video.